Jared's like, you know, hilarious.
Oh, this voiceover. I was in a recording studio in Newark, New Jersey.
Oh, no.
Doing this for 4 hours. And 4 hours is a long time to be in the studio. Just talking in your sexy voice. And it was ridiculous because it was horoscopes to the Daily News, and you like call in for 75 cents to get your horoscope. And it was really, it bordered on porn. I mean, I read it to my parents and my girlfriend, and they were like, that is just awful. People believe that stuff? But it was like, maybe your Sagittarius girlfriend would like some lacy thong pants. and not just 1, 2 dozen bouquets of red, shiny roses. You know, and it was I was in the studio, and it was, it was paid like $75 an hour, and it was 4 hours. But that was it. It was only 4 hours. But it seemed like an eternity. And I have a Southern accent. I hope you can tell. If you can't, you make, I really have a Southern accent in New York. Here, you may not be able to tell. Man, I really, people that will come visit me, they're like, you don't have a Southern accent at all. And I'm like, yes, I do. And everybody in New York, it's a hard thing. When I'm performing, it doesn't come out. But when I'm talking or relaxed, which I am now, it does come out. But there were certain words I would say, like program, I would say program. It's just the thing my dad, I would say program. And so every sentence, you had to clear sentences. And so I can't imagine being a book reader. But you had to clear sentences. And so, if the guy didn't correct you over the headset, you could move on. And so it's just mind-boggling to go through that for 4 hours.
So anyway, yes, so his manager, you've done voiceovers, he's auditioned for commercials and stuff.
Yeah, and I've got really close on commercials, and that's where the money is, because I have friends that are, Barrett Foa, who's one of the Avenue Q guys, he's doing a toothpaste commercial right now. He's got great teeth. He's brushing his teeth, and he's making so much money, because every time it airs, he makes money. So, you can get by, you can actually make money doing Broadway theater. You can get by doing off-Broadway theater, and you can maybe survive doing regional and stuff. But it's tough. It's a tough career.
It's very, very tough.
And that's why, right now my girlfriend is in Wicked on Broadway, right? And she makes a lot more money than I do. I'm in an off-Broadway show called Forbidden Broadway. And this, I'm not telling you, I'm just telling you because you need to know this. The minimum off-Broadway right now is $600 a week. And I make more than that in regional shows sometimes. And that's in New York City in a Tony awarded, Drama Desk winning, we're on Playbill and Broadway.com once a month, and we make $600 a week. And it's the hardest working, it uses everything.
You've never seen the show? I've seen it
13 times, it's a lot.
Yeah, but they're just non-stop. It's just
it is really hard work, and you're getting paid $600 a week, and your rent is $900 a month, and that's before taxes. So after paying your agent $60 of your $600, and then taxes taken out, you end up with $410, and you're like, are you kidding me? And I'm making a little more than that, but it's not much. But the Broadway minimum now is $1,552 or something, $1,552 a week, which is considerably more, two and a half times more or something. And but of course you're in a different tax bracket because you're making over $70,000 a year or something.
And talking about being on Broadway and how everyone wants to be on Broadway. Remember one time we talked about what is there how many actors compared to how many roles there actually are on Broadway?
It's ridiculous. 1% of actors are in Broadway shows because there are 34 Broadway shows and there's only so much you can do.
Yeah. 1%.
It's ridiculous. So what I would what I would love to tell you, when I was sitting in that chair 7 years ago, I just want to be in Broadway shows, I'm going to go to New York and be in Broadway shows. When I met Taylor, that's what he said. First thing
I said to him.
Literally, hey Taylor, nice to meet you. It's I was like, so what do you want to do? And he was like,
this is when I was a senior in high school, and I saw Forum here, and I saw Jared, he played Hero, and that's what made me want to come here.
And so I
was like, well, if you know me, you know my kind of dry funniness and everything, and so I was like, yeah, I want to move to New York, after I go to college, and God, I just don't know what I'm going to do up there for the 2 weeks before I get in a Broadway show.
I was like, is this guy? But I felt the same way, and I thought Broadway was the only thing. Broadway is not the only thing, and it's the unreachable star, but it is reachable. And it's so funny because I'm so used to disappointment and rejection as an actor. All New York actors are. You go in and you're expected to hear the last thing you want to hear in an audition, which is, thank you. That doesn't mean good. That doesn't mean you did well, thank you. That means thank you. So that's it's the last thing you want to hear. And so it's very funny because you go to these auditions, and if you hear anything else in that, like, you really have a high C, or, well, I don't have to vocalize you, you're like, I succeeded, thank you! And you walk out into Times Square and you're like, I just won the lottery.
I'm a star.
Yeah, exactly, but it totally makes your day because you succeeded. And that's being an actor. Being an actor is not, I mean, being in a show is being an actor too. But being an actor is going and audition. That's your job, to audition. And because, you know, my girlfriend's in Wicked, and all she wants to do is get another show. I mean, she loves being in Wicked, but she's in the ensemble, and she understudies Glinda. It's a great job, and she's been doing it for a year and a half. And so she's constantly auditioning because it's insatiable. Actors only want to they always want to better themselves, you know. And so that's what you'll do for the rest of your career, if you want this as a career. So get ready, and it's hard because constantly being rejected.
And one thing I've learned as far as auditioning, because I'm auditioning a lot more than he is now, just because he has a job, and I'm trying to get one. But
I'm locked into my contract until November 22nd.
Yeah, and I wish I was locked into a contract until November 22nd. But it's great. I mean, having friends and knowing people out there is, I mean, Jared's my best friend, and I don't know how many days I'll call him and say, okay, I went to this audition, and the casting director lifted their eyebrow. What do you think that means? And finally, I mean, Jared's like, he's like, Taylor, and so what I have to tell myself now, I always have a plan for the day. Wednesdays and Thursdays, we always usually go play tennis. We'll take bikes, ride them down the, Hudson, Riverside, go to the clay tennis courts and play. It's the most relaxing thing. But, I used to just like, okay, I got an audition in 2 days for this, and listen to the CD like 8 times, and it's just torture. Now I get up, I go to the audition, I do the best I can, but usually when you go to an audition, I mean, your adrenaline kicks in, and I usually do, I mean, for myself, I'm always happy when I leave, but you just cannot analyze. It's just such a mental thing, I guess is what I'm saying.
Because you don't get it.
Tear you apart.
You don't get it most of the time, And I stopped telling when I got to New York, I was telling I've got an audition for Starlight Express in Germany, I've got an audition for Spamalot on Broadway. And so they would call me right after, did you get it? And it's like, if I got it, I would be on Broadway and I would have called you, And so that's what's amazing about it, because I had to stop telling them every audition I had, because, did you get, and it's just so hard, because it's like, well, it was, I had a 3.2% chance of getting it, and there were 12 other guys there, and they have Broadway credits and I don't, so they got it, but I did good, So it was just hard saying that over and over again, so it's like, you know what?
And so, I mean, Jersey Boys, for instance, it's on Broadway. I've been in for Jersey Boys 6 times. I've had 6 auditions so far. And
which is good if they call you in over and over again.
I mean, it's great, but how many auditions do I have to go to for them before they're going to, either, I don't know if they're taking, I mean, I hope they're taking me seriously, but I don't,
I have a question about that. I heard once that if they call you in a certain amount of times, they have to start paying you.
Yeah, a lot of times now they're doing this camp. They're calling it the Frankie camp.
Jersey Boys camp. Yeah.
Jersey Boys camp. They'll bring you in because it's such a hard role to sing, right? It's so high. Right. They're testing your stamina, and they come in and they teach you. But that rule, if you want to know the trivia of it, Barbara Streisand, they made that rule for her because when she was called in for Funny Girl, the whole creative team just kept wanting. They were like, we need to hear you sing that song again. And they were just like, this girl is great. And they called her back like 12 times or something. And come on, they didn't need to do that, But she wasn't an established star. She had been in a featured role. But she was like, this is ridiculous. And so they do have to pay you after a certain, I think it's after 8 or something.
Well, thanks for that. I didn't know that.